Hello, welcome to this Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and this is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, where every Monday, me and the Twitch chat geo-guess and locate events around the world. But thanks to Warhammer Rob, who actually directs us to BCP and other websites, we look at the event lists and event results from around the world. This will be one of the shorter shows that I do because, as you will notice when I go through them, I haven't been covering a lot of the 4-1s at events, mainly because we're about to see the Battle Scroll update. It should be this week. In fact, it should be tomorrow from time of recording. So most likely won't be covering those, mainly because I'd like to use those to kind of like guess at the future meta, which right now I don't really see being very effective. But Battle Scroll might make no changes, and so it might be very relevant, but there we are. Also, very exciting show today because we're going to like 4 amazing different venues around the world. We're going to Sweden. We're going to an amazing venue in the Philippines. We are going to a brewery in the USA, and we're going to the actual hall where they shot some of the Harry Potter scenes from the movies, which is amazing. So, like, great little locations there for all of the different Age of Sigmar events. We have 174 players playing Age of Sigmar around the world this weekend, not including, of course, Northern Masters, one-dayers, and a bunch of other wicked little events. If you enjoy the show and like what I do, then you can always join our Patreon to join our Discord. That's the thing I should have said. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I love reading the comments. Apart from the nasty comments, just don't leave them. Don't bother with that. Just write something nice and say hello and that. Anyway, let's get on with the event results. Let's go. The first event we're going to look at is Bloodshed in the Shire, run by the Bucks Wargaming Collective, which is cool. It's very cool. They had 73 players playing at this event in England, and we had 2 5-0s. We had Matt Gordsborough and Owen Jackson. Now, if you remember last week's stat show, you'll notice Matt playing at the TSN Arena also went 5-0, so it's the same list again, which he practiced. And he was also staying at my house last week, and we were talking that night. I said, no, take Soulblight. And he's like, no, I'm going to go for this. This is better. And he was right. Which is very interesting. Matt's probably one of the most consistent and excellent players around the world right now. Very challenging to beat him. Also, amazingly, he went with Matt had been at the Bloodshed in the Shire like 2 or 3 years ago with the same army. However, he won Best Painted with that army, or he won like a painting award for that army a couple of years ago. So amazing that, and I'm sure I can't remember what his actual results were at that point, but, being someone who's had consistently well-painted armies and winning a Best Painted at Bloodshed in the Shire a couple of years ago, and then returning and then winning Bloodshed in the Shire feels like a really nice kind of story or journey at least. I'd love to hear from Matt about that. I think that'd be really fun. Anyway, so what was he running? He was running the Croak Bomb with a cheeky little ally, which we talked about last week. Dracothian's Tale, Lord Croak, Slan Starmaster with, of course, the Lord of Celestial Resonance and Space Folder Staff, which is double the CCP that you generate, and also being able to teleport within 7 inches. Then he had the Skink Starseer in his list as well. And then, and if you notice, I don't think there is the Astronaut Banner Bearer, is there? Then 15 Saurus Guard and 5 Saurus Guard. So to quote Matt, I'm unkillable. Because effectively what he's got there is 40 wounds of ablative wounds in the Saurus Guard for his characters, which are doing all of the output, obviously via Croak spells, being able to use the Explodey CCP thing with the AoE mortal wound splash, whatever that's called, I don't remember. And then as well as using the Realm Shaper to blow stuff up and other things. And then, having Saurus Guard that can fight. Then 2 lots of 10 Skinks. And then a cheeky Free Guild Command Corps in the list as well. So good, it made it into the Croak Bomb. I thought we'd see Zenestra in there because that adds more mortal wounds. But I think what Matt's used them as, having seen him play last week, he uses them as screens, he uses them to steal command points off people. Steal command points to win games seems pretty easy if you're going to go for a rerollable charge. And then the first time, he steals a CP on a 4+, can't do it. The unit can also heal itself. That's also very effective. So they're tanky, they're fighty. One of the characters got D6 damage attack, which is really upsetting for the likes of Shalaxi, who've just got like a couple themselves. Their little character's got the same and can heal itself. And it's definitely true that a Free Gold Command Corps is incredibly points effective, like we saw with the Gobblepalooza and some of the units over the course of the game, Age of Sigmar 3. He's also got the Eighth and Void Pendulum and the Malevolent Maelstrom. So pretty great work from Matt. excellent job. Well done to him, especially with that lovely army. Right, and then Owen Jackson. Now this is cool. He's got Beast of Chaos. Owen's been grinding out as well. He's pretty much a dual citizen now between the US and the UK. He plays in both. Obviously represents Team Wales. So not sure how that works. No, that's not true. I do know it works. But he's been in both places. And I do wonder if experiencing different metas, like the US meta constantly, like he regularly plays in the US, and then also coming back and playing in the UK kind of really helps with that kind of general overall experience. I'll be interested when we come up to Age of Sigmar World Team Championships, if, because of the constant, we'll talk about that in a bit later, but the constant back and forth, a lot of the nations have been doing, we've been seeing the Norwegians have been playing in like Sweden and Denmark and Poland, and they've been playing all over the kind of like mid-Europe area. I wonder if that's going to really, hone their ability to operate and play inside of different metas, which obviously work really well for Worlds. So, what's Owen playing? Well, he's playing Beast of Chaos, and again, shout out to that, almost no one is playing Beast of Chaos anymore. He messaged me last night. I said, no one's playing Beast anymore, Owen. He's like, no one is brave enough. So, if you're a Beast of Chaos player and you haven't been playing him, you've just got called out by the man himself. So, Great Brave Shaman, a Beast of Chaos Zangor Shaman, a Doom Bull, and Be'lakor. Now, what has been a change, I think, in this list, and we've seen this in the US a little bit as well. What we've seen normally is like a 6 of Zangor Enlightened on discs sometimes. We've seen that played a little bit, but we normally will see a big brick of 9 Doom Bull, although that was kind of like last year's meta. Last year's meta was like 9 Doom Bull, and then the Doom Bull, 9 Bulgors, and then the Doom Bull was the general. And then we saw that gravitate towards having like a unit of 6 Enlightened, because they're very fast, and then you would like out deep strike 1, move 1, and it gave you a lot more utility on the board. Be'lakor, I think, has always been pretty much a mainstay in those lists as well. However, Owen's swapped it up again. Then we got the Great Brave Shaman. He's the general, which means you're not going to have 9 Bulgor, because you need the Doom Bull to be the general for that. Bestial Cunning, so you're still going to be able to deep strike a unit outside of 7 inches, or one of the units. The Zangor Shaman, obviously with Blizzard, and is super, super cheap. Doom Bull is still great in of itself because of its command ability to help the Doom Bulls charge in phases when they shouldn't charge. And then Be'lakor, obviously, just if you don't know what Be'lakor does at this point in Age of Sigmar, I should tell you, because you're like, why the hell? Be'lakor closes down enemy units with an ability, which is great. If over the course of a double priority roll, then it's going to be able to shut down a unit for 2 turns, which is good. Effectively, what you do is you seal off one of their hammers or one of their key pieces from working well, you charge in and fight them. Super easy. Then he's got 2 units of 10 Ungor, and he's got 20 Ungor Raiders, which can shoot off the board, then land and shoot, combined with the heroic actions that Beast of Chaos do to potentially pop off mortal wounds or drag screens off from the board edge of the board. There's some real great game mechanics here. 2 units of 6 Bulgor with pairs of axes, so they're not built to survive, they're only built to to fight. And then they've just got a lot of attacks. I think it's 4 attacks each. With a pair of axes potentially, but mortals on 6s to hit, they can really smash through stuff. And thanks to the new coherency, I still say it's not new, but since the last Battle Scroll update, the coherency change where units of 6, which was the biggest change that we saw in the last Battle Scroll, where we saw units of 6 not need to be in dual lines anymore, and instead you could wrap them around. I think that's a little bit better. So yeah, it's 4 attacks on the axes, 2 on the horns, or any 6s to hit are going to do 2 mortal wounds. So it's pretty effective. And that's it. That's everything that's in the list, which is great. Excellent work from Owen there. Really fun. Nice to see something unique in there. Seraphon as well. Well done to Matt. Now, last week, I didn't go through the 4-1s for LVO. CanCon. I didn't go through LVO and CanCon. I won't go through most of the 4-1s because at time of recording, which is on Monday, probably tomorrow, as in Tuesday, we should get the Battle Scroll update, or it should be on Thursday this week, one of the two. So I expect the meta to change, and I normally analyze these lists to kind of have a conversation about the meta and how the meta is doing. And therefore, I'm not going to go through them, no matter how much salty bitches on the YouTube comments get mad at me for it, okay? I'm just not going through them because it's not really worthwhile right now until we see some updates, okay? And because it's all been solved. Saying that, though, there's a couple of notable things in here. 2 incredible players, both Mike Stewart and Alex Bruce, went to this event and went 4-1. And I think it's really worth talking about that because Mike is an excellent player, plays for Team England. He's a really solid, really, really good player. And he had like the 30 Fusilier build with double free guild command core, didn't go 5-0. Alex Bruce, Cities of Sigmar, also again an excellent player. Literally, similar list, double Warforger, the Relic Envoy, some Fusiliers, and double command core, didn't go 5-0. So it's worth noting that and then in the 4-1 section, we've got some Sylvaneth. Oh, I'll shout out all the 4-1s. So you've got Phil Marshall with his Gloomspike Gits, an incredible player, not being able to go 5-0. Super okay, Phil. Keep your head up. You're doing great with Gits. Mike Stewart Cities, Chris Myhill, Idneth Deepkin, David McElroy with Sylvaneth, Mick Wendell with Zinch. Zinch, that's great. Work from Mick. Alex Bruce, Cities of Sigmar, Mark Padden with Oryx. Mo with Seraphon, Tom Marshall with Daughters of Cain, Jeff Ruddle with Sylvaneth, double Sylvaneth in there. Mark Storrell with Sons of Behemoth, and the beautiful Tim Willoughby with Maggotkin of Nurgle in there as well. So excellent. So some really solid players in the 4-1 category. Well done. I hope everyone had a lovely time. Our next event is the Columbus Brew Hammer event 2024, organised by Chris Teal. And at this event was 42 players playing in the United States of America. Very coolly, it was being held at a brewery, the Olentangy River Brewing Company, established in 2017. You can see it there. And then what's really fun is the brewery is right next to the kids' drop-off center with a couple of kid trucks. So you can drop your kids off at the kids center, go get hammered and play Warhammer, go back to the kids center, and then there's a kid truck that will drive you home. Pretty good venue, gonna say. So we in our 5-0, we had John Anderson with his Fangs of Seraphon Sotek, and this is similar to what we've obviously read with Matt's. Fangs of Sotek, Slan Star Master with Lord of Celestial Resonance, Space Warder Stave, Nashroth Bannerbearer, Croak, Skink Starseer. So I think basically identical so far. A unit of 5 Saurus Guard and a unit of 15 Saurus Guard. So again, similar. However, John has decided to swap it up to go for some Saurus Warriors, a unit of 20, I think, and then Gravetide, Malevolent Maelstrom, and the Horrorghast, which Horrorghast feels like a really good pick with the AoE you can't use Inspire and Presence ability on Horrorghast, working obviously very well with the AoE damage that you take from the Seraphon list. Makes a lot of sense. Then in the 4-1 category, we've got Paul Hinderman with OCR Bone Reapers, Jack Carwood with the Host of Slanesh, and then Brendan Melnick with his Sylvaneth Heartwood, and Ben Timmerman with his Ogre Moor Tribes. Oh, got quite a lot. And then Hunter Hoper with their Nighthaunt, the Quicksilver Dead, Mario DiMatteo with his Kharadron Overlords, Arik Urbaz, and then Chris Kulo with his Gloomspike Gits, Jaws of Mork. I think it's worth pointing out that in the last event, and also this event, we had a couple of Sylvaneth wins. Both those other 2 Sylvaneth lists in the 4-1 category did have a Lariel. This one doesn't. This one has Belthanos, which is quite nice for a very underperforming army. Similar to the Nighthaunt list that we're seeing from Hunter Hoper with the Quicksilver Dead. Again, Nighthaunt are one of the underperforming armies in Age of Sigmar. This has got spam Dreadscythe Harridins, which is quite cool and fun to see. So even though I'm not popping through the 4-1s in detail at the moment, there are a couple of standouts. No Soulblight Gravelords I've read so far. In fact, I don't think I've read any Soulblight Gravelords from the 4-1s in the last list either. So no Soulblight Gravelords, some Bone Reapers featuring, which does make a lot of sense. But Slanesh also being here by Jack Carwood, Cobra Kai Gaming Dojo. They're a great group of people. I love those guys. They're being great. So and only losing in the final game. So well done to Jack. So unique meta and interesting, but definitely looks like Soulblight, at least this week. The week before, if everyone remembers, LVO and CanCon couldn't stop reading out Soulblight Gravelord 4-1s. There were just loads. There's loads more here now, which is brilliant. So well done to everyone, and well done for running an event in a brewery. Sounds great. Our next event, incredible. We have been in the Hall of Harry Potter, where Harry Potter was shot. That's where Bloodshed was. Then we went to a brewery, and now we're going to downtown Manila in the Philippines for the Wtio GT 2024. We had 31 players, which is massive. 31 players in the Philippines battling it out. They were playing at the Gamers Shop. Here's a lovely picture. Podcast listeners, you won't be able to see it, but there's a lovely picture of it being set up. It's on the top floor of the store. It's also got a lovely little location. And right down the road, there's a lot of the locals, quite big fans of the Jollibees. I don't agree with them. I'm straight down the road. There's a Chinese down the road, Chinese restaurant. That's where I like to go. So a little bit of a split in the community there. That does happen, though, in these larger communities, which is fun. So this is all organized. These events are organized by the Wtio Gaming Club. Now, if you're not sure who they are, they have a Twitter presence, a Facebook presence. They also have a YouTube channel. You can go check it out. It's called Wtio. It's on the channel now, Wtio, and you can go and ask them some questions. And if you ever are planning a trip to the Philippines, go play some games, or just a general trip and you want to go say hello anyway, then there's a chance. The list design is not very Manila. Don't say it like that. Anyway, so we had 32 players, battling it out to win the event. However, it was won by Nico Cavada, who won a wicked kind of WWE style, which is a bit yikesy now, obviously WWE, but the kind of like wrestling style belt, championship belt, which I think was mainly popularized by Joe Pagano. For the Intercontinental, and Jacob Berry for the Intercontinental Dimensional Worldwide Belt, which is cool. But anyway, big gold belt, which is fun. And Nico was running Gloomspike Gits, and he had in his list, he was a King's Gits list, which is the most popular sub-faction in Gloomspike Gits at the moment, super popular. He's got Loon Boss and Mangler Squigs, Grintcrack the Great, a Madcap Shaman, and a Squig Boss. Loon Boss and Mangler Squigs is a very interesting choice. You don't see that as much. You see Grintcrack a lot, but the Loon Boss is, I would say, a little bit less survivable than you want him to be, but can be fast and obviously adds a lot of threat range into the army. Fight Another Day is going to really help with survivability. And then it's just all about how Gits lists are built at the minute. Shout out to Phil for really kind of like, inspiring me in that way. And it's just all about pure output. Just like, let's just murder everything. Because your Gits, you don't mind if you lose all of your units or like a whole unit, because you can bring half that unit back on a 4-up, which is massive. So it's a unit of 10 Boingrot Bounders, which are just an incredible cavalry unit. I would say 15 can delete almost anything. 10 can delete a lot. Then a unit of 36 Squig Herd, a unit of 24 Squig Herd, and then Grintcrack's Loon Court, and then the Gobberpalooza. So the Gobberpalooza there to buff. And then, the Godpalooza put out a lot of buffs, and it's just all output, all aggro output all the time. If you do end up losing something, then of course you've got Fight on Death thanks to Grintcrack, and in addition to Fight on Death from Grintcrack, obviously you can bring those models back, which is very, very cool. This is fun. We've got a bunch of the Filipino community in the community, so shout out to all of you. Hello. Apparently the Mangler sniped out a lot of targets, specific targets. That's what his job. His job was a scalpel in the army. That's fantastic. We love that. Wizard Hunters on Squig Herd was fun. Oh, that's super fun as well. All right, lovely. Then we have in the 4-1 category, we've got Angelo Bassa Mogul with his Seraphon Cottle's Claw, Dennis David, which I've been assured by the community is very much like Ricky Bobby, with his OCR Bone Reapers Mortis Praetorians, Alexis Sulit with his Slaves of Darkness Kabbalist lists, and then BJ Ricio with his OCR Bone Reapers Crematoriums. I think we've been tracking, me and other Rob, Better Rob, who does all of the stats info for me. I think we've been tracking events in the Philippines now for 3 or 4 years, 3 years at least. And it's especially obviously post-COVID, people being able to go out events and stuff. And it's been super fun to see this community get bigger, grow, build its own kind of player base with their YouTube channel and posting. They do an amazing job on Twitter of constantly posting pictures and tweet threads of their community and their community growing and being, unashamedly proud of what they're organizing for themselves. And I think that's wonderful. And I think I'd love to see that from more communities. I see the Norwegians absolutely everywhere online now. And I love the next event that we are going to cover is the War of the Ospreys 2024 in what was an absolutely killer Swedish field. Is similar to, I think you could compare it to like a Swedish Masters. There was a lot of excellent players battling it out. Here we have a lovely picture of our top 3. I'm pretty certain there's Adam and Jesper. Jesper's a cutie. Congratulations to Jesper. Right, so we had 28 players playing in Sweden. I've just said this kind of in the pre-recording while I'm chatting with the stream, but I think honestly, the sheer level of skill and quality coming out of the European, specifically like continental Europe, meta right now is savage. You got the Norwegians, Swedish, Danish, Germans. There's some really excellent Warhammer Polish. There's some really excellent Warhammer happening all around there. A lot of really great games in France as well. We just don't hear a lot about France because they have like more of like a closed community. But yeah, really excellent. Anyway, so in our first place, we have Adam Saff running a similar list to what we saw Jeremy run at the LVO. And he's running Barak Mornar with an Arcanaut Admiral, an Aether Chemist, and an Aetheric Navigator. Then he's got one Gunstruck Gunhauler with Coalbeard's collapsible compartments. Then two more Thunderers, then 2 units of 10 Thunderers as battle line, 2 Arcanaut frigates, and one of them is obviously the flagship, and then a unit of 6 Endrin Riggers. And one of the things that I talked about the last time we covered this, but same thing again, this is a new iteration, kind of like what we saw with Owen's Beast of Chaos. This is a new iteration of how KO play. Previously, we've seen KO either really load up on frigates and have either Skywardens, or probably more popularly, we've seen Endrin Riggers for their ability to heal the boats. Instead, and so that would be one build, or we would see an Ironclad with just loads of Thunderers in. This is kind of a halfway house between both, and it feels like they've got the best of both worlds. They've got mobility and combat potential, as well as some healing from the Endrin Riggers. They've still got great shooting potential from all of the Thunderers, and then everyone can get loaded up into a boat, thanks to the collapsible compartments, which I think is very clever. So you've got mobility, you've got output, you've got the ability to push onto objectives, all condensed into one singular place, which is great, and played by Adam, who is a phenomenal player. Jesper, who's a phenomenal person, with his 4-1 Soulblight Gravelords, well done to him. Christian Wenberg with his Seraphon in 4-1 category as well, and then Albin Glauman with his Fire Slayers. I think it's worth shouting out just for a moment that this is all on the Exon website, if anyone's interested. He was running the new Warcry warband, the Vulcan Flame Seekers, which is quite an interesting pick, as well as 2 units of Allied Vanguard Hunters, which are quite meta right now. They kind of are doing the job that we would see Heartrenders from Daughters of Cain, or we would see Tree Revenants from Sylvaneth, where you have units that could teleport around and grab objectives and do things like the battle tactics from the GHB, like, being on the board edges or units outside your opponent's territory, stuff like that. So, and don't forget, Age of Sigmar is not really at the moment a game about killing your opponent, although in some cases it is. But most importantly, it's about scoring max points, 28 points all the time. It's kind of like got what a 9th edition 40k game had, where everyone was scoring 100 points. And it's about, making it so your opponent can't score any, which is why the Mornar ability that you can see in this, in Adam Saff's Kharadron Overlord's army, or the Cities of Sigmar Command Corps, where you're able to shut down command abilities, either on a 5+ in this case, or Cities of Sigmar 4+, is wildly effective, which is quite interesting. That is it for Sweden. Not all the lists are on BCP, but I think it was just also worth shouting out at time of recording, shouting out that Scotland had their Masters series where, they take the best performing players from their country and then they battle them out against each other. It's called the Northern Masters. Shout out to Nate for organising it. And the returning champion, that's right, back-to-back Northern Masters champion, Andy Curry, took out the event, which is great. So well done to Andy. There's a picture of him with a big old Scottish shield and a bunch of plaques on there, which is super fun. So winning back-to-back Masters in your own country is honestly a really, really, really big deal. Super tough to do. So he should be very proud of himself, in my opinion. So well done to him. Okay, so that's it for this week. And hopefully should be the last of the, tournaments that we see with this Battle Scroll. Obviously, Battle Scroll comes out, there's still events that are probably going to be like list cut off, is going to be with this or whatever it might be. But we should start moving into the new meta as we see it, with the release of the Battle Scroll and the changes we're going to see in that. No idea what that's going to be so far, but that's exciting. And then we've also got Dawnbringers Book 5, where we've got all those new death factions with the armies and regiments of renown, and whether or not they're going to hit the meta or affect the meta. And in addition to that, we've got the announcement of Book 6, which is the Chaos one, coming up. So loads of things still to change up maybe how the game is going to play over the last part of Age of Sigmar 3. In addition to that, you've got some very exciting kind of calendar events coming up, specifically probably, though, the key one being the World Team Championships, which many of these lists are going to settle into after this big Battle Scroll update, which will be interesting in my personal opinion. Oh, well, I'm excited for it anyway. I think that's fun. Start to really kind of like settle the game out. I think it's also true to say that while we haven't seen a lot this week, if we look, we didn't see tons of Soulblight Gravelord. I talked about that already. The venues for all of the events are super cool. I like that as well. Cities definitely are on the rise. We talked about that last week, but last week, I think a lot of the discourse was around the fact that they're unbeatable, but you saw very good players not hitting those 5-0 spots straight at the top. So I think there's something interesting there. The rise of Seraphon with the decrease of Null Myriad, which I did talk about and say was going to happen. We're there. We've seen that. KO, don't forget, are still an excellent army, still doing very, very well. So it's unsurprising to see them doing well either. I'm not sure what the battle scroll is going to bring. I think if we're going to see a massive mix-up on what the game looks like, you're going to have to do something where like either battle tactics cost different or scoring is done different on the primary, but you probably aren't going to see that until Age of Sigmar 4. Similarly, many of the lists are fairly cookie cutter because command traits, artifacts, and other stuff are so effective in-game, and then there's normally just a best-in slot for most factions. So we are going to potentially see that carry on if there aren't aggressive points changes or rules overhauls. But again, I'm not really sure, and I'm kind of interested to see what that's going to look like. But either way, another great weekend of Age of Sigmar, just another great weekend. Great thing. Hope everyone had a wonderful time. Thanks to everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon who supports what I do. If you'd like to support the show, joining Patreon would be great. We've got Discord community you can join. You get added into, which would be rad. And then, thanks very much. And thanks to all the events. I hope everyone had a great time. I'll see you guys soon.